Hello and welcome to my July knits and latest WIP. My name is Karen and I'm joining you from Toronto, Canada. I am a knitter. I love to knit. I knit for my family, for friends, and for charity. I'm an avid user of Ravelry, and the reason I've decided to do these videos, this is actually my second video, and the reason I chose to do this is because I get a lot of questions about the different projects, the yarn and so on, through direct messages. And so I started writing in the notes section on Ravelry all the changes that I make to a pattern or why I selected the yarn and so on. But I recognize that text instruction isn't the way that everyone learns, and so I decided to create a video of all the knits that I do in a month, and then I can break down the larger video into smaller videos and put the links to those smaller videos about each project into the notes section on my Ravelry page. So I hope this is helpful for those of you who have questions, and for those of you who do not, I hope you enjoy this and it inspires you. And if you have any other suggestions of things that I could do to help, because that's what this knitting community is all about. We're so good at supporting and sharing and helping each other, and I hope this is helpful for you. So this past month, I finished 9 projects that I want to share with you. Some of these are gifts. A couple of them are items for myself, and also I've included a charity knit that I've been working on. For each of these, I will share with you why I did this project, what pattern I used, the construction, as well as the yarn. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I've learned and what I've changed or what I might change going forward. So let's get started. I have a lovely neighbor who gave up on knitting and is now painting. And so she asked me if I would like to have 2 bags of yarn. So I said, sure. And so I went through that yarn and I separated everything and organized it and passed it on to a number of friends who knit for charity and could use it as well as myself. So I wanted to thank this neighbor and make her something special. So I decided to make her the elbows up design, and it is a cowl. Here it is. It is a cowl, and the reason I picked this pattern is because she's a super hockey fan. She's a fan of Toronto Maple Leafs, obviously. We're living here in Toronto, and she walks her dog all the time in the dead of winter. She's out there, and so I thought this would be a perfect gift for her as she's out on those cold winter days. I picked this pattern because elbows up works. She doesn't wear hats, so I figured this would be the ideal project that would keep her warm. What I can tell you about this pattern is all of these sections are different charts. So there's a chart for this section, a chart here. You're repeating that first chart, and then obviously the lettering chart. What's great about this design is if you don't want the elbows up lettering, the designer has given you another chart that you can put into that section, so it's optional to use those letters or not. The back, and actually that's the chart that you would use it all the way around if you didn't want to do the lettering. So this is what I made for my neighbor. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the yarn that I used. I used 2.75 millimeter needles for this, a size 2 US, and I used an alpaca acrylic fingering weight yarn. I can show you that tab. A friend of mine found this yarn in a thrift shop and she gave it to me. Here it is. That was for the cream that I used. And the red yarn that I used in this project was some wool that I picked up while I was in Argentina at the beginning of June. And that yarn is probably more of a sport weight, so maybe not ideal for this project, but I'm still okay with it. It's 80% wool, 100% or 10% viscose, and the other 10% polyamide. So, and I used up all of my red that I bought. What I learned when I was making this, obviously from one maple leaf to the next maple leaf, there's long floats. So I learned, and the designer shared a link to the ladder back jacquard method for taking care of your floats. I had never done that before, and it worked out really, really well. So I would do that again. I would definitely have to go back to the video so that I could you know, learn that method over again, but I would use it for sure. One thing that I did change in this project is they didn't do a backing. So all the floats you could see in the back, and I thought, I didn't really like that because I knew she'd be constantly pulling it over her head, and if somebody wears glasses or sunglasses or has earrings on, I thought it's going to get caught. So what I ended up doing is I used up all my red and I knit just a plain knit in the back, and then I ran out of the red, and so I just used a strip of the cream color to finish it off. And I'm really happy with it. I put my little label on it. My label is Care Bear. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it that well. I'll put it up to the screen, but it's KarebearKnitwear, and when you fold it in half, it's Care Knit. On the other side, it says Bearwear. So that's the elbows up design. Would I make it again? Absolutely. Great knit. It kept me enthused. Always a change with those charts, and I was excited to make this project forward. I'll be even more excited when winter comes and she's walking outside and I can run outside and share this with her. So that's the elbows up cowl. I'm showing you this hat because I made it a year ago, but I often use it because it's a fabulous structure for DK weight yarn. This is the motorcycle hat. The pattern is a purchase pattern. I made it for a friend who absolutely loved it, loved the design, but also it was a great fit. So I continue to use this. Anyone who's interested in making a motorcycle hat, this pattern also includes Honda and Suzuki in the pattern purchase, and it's available on Ravelry and for purchase, and I put the link for this hat in the description below. The reason I'm showing you that hat was because I used that same structure to make this profit hat. My nephew is he lives in Western Canada. He is a DJ on the side. He does DJ gigs, and his DJ name is Profit DJ. So he asked me if I could make him a hat, and I said, absolutely. But what do you want on it? Like, what is it going to look like? And so we were starting to work together to make a design. He was thinking of a turntable or something. And I said, okay, wait, here's the chart that you're working with. How many, and I just said to him, here's the grid. But in my mind, it was how many rows and how many stitches. And so I sent him that, and he decided on putting his DJ name on the hat. So the first one I made is the cream or white one that you see there, him wearing it. And I sent that one to him. He loved it, and he said, oh, can you do another one in black, but maybe lower the lettering? So that's what I did. And this hat, just to tell you a little bit about the construction, it's from the band up. It's calls for a 3mm needle. I used on the first one, I used Estelle Superwash merino DK yarn. It's really, really soft and it's great yarn for color work. And with that one, and I think that was a pure white, but it is color 40301. And the lettering that I put on that first one was again the same DK merino superwash yarn. It's more of a steel gray color. It's 40303. And then for the black one, I couldn't get the Estelle DK. My local yarn shop that I purchased this at didn't have it. So I ended up using, I had in my stash, this Alano Gatto. It is fabulous yarn. It's 50 cotton and 50 merino, made in Italy, so perfect for him to have. And out west, because it's not as cold as perhaps we have in Ontario at times, although with all this global change in weather, I'm not even sure I can say that anymore. And I just used what I had left over from his first hat to do the lettering. And I sent the second one. I've yet to hear from him, but that was the Prophet hat with the motorcycle hat structure. In June, I had the opportunity to travel to Argentina, and while we were there, staying in our hotel, we met a lovely hotel attendant who was always asking us about our knits and complimenting us on our knits, as it was cold at the beginning of June when we did travel there. So I asked what their favorite color was, and they let me know, and so I made a couple gifts that I have since mailed to Argentina. I've yet to hear from them, but I'd like to tell you about the gifts that I created. So the first one is the knitting badge neckerchief, the design by Nicholas Heed, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I have made this a number of times. It's a lovely pattern. It makes a beautiful gift. You can use a number of different weight yarns with it. I used a 4mm needle. I believe Nicholas shows in the pattern, the smaller ones and larger ones. As you begin the center of the neckerchief, it grows and expands, so you can stop at whatever point you want, but he does give information and instruction for different sizing. Again, I said I used 4mm needles, and I used a mohair yarn, and this is all I have left of that lovely mohair. It is from the Northbound Knitting Company, and there's the label. It is kid mohair and silk lace, 70% mohair, 30% silk, in the colorway zinc. And I love this yarn. I used it, as I said, in a number of projects, and I'll show you another project. This is all I have left. I bought the yarn at a local yarn shop here in Toronto, Good Grief, Yarns and Provisions, a lovely little shop that I also will link in the description below, because she does have an online presence. So that is the Knitting Badge Neckerchief. Great gift design if you're looking for gifts to make for someone special. The next project that I want to share with you is the Sophie scarf. That's designed by Petite Knit. Very, very, very popular pattern, but it is another great gift pattern. It's a purchase on Ravelry. It's quick and easy, and I used this pattern as well to make a gift for our friend who we met in Argentina. So this is a little bit different what I did with this Sophie scarf. I made half of it with the silk mohair that I talked about earlier. That was from, the Northbound Knitting Company, the mohair and the silk. I made half of the scarf with that, and I made the other half of the scarf with 100% silk that I got from Knit Antics, and that's the logo that you're seeing on the screen right there. The Northbound Knitting Company yarn I got from Good Grief Yarns here in Toronto, and the 100% silk yarn I obtained when I went to Vogue Knitting Live in 2024, and I went to the Knit Antics booth and met Bunny Harper, who is one of the founders of Knit Antics, and I bought a number of skeins from her. She works with dyes, all these silks, cottons, linens, and blends of those three, and the yarn is absolutely fabulous. I've made a ton of beautiful gifts from this yarn. Both Knit Antics and Good Grief have an online presence, so I put the links to their locations online in the description below. I believe Good Grief has her own website, and Knit Antics has an Etsy shop, and she's based in the USA. The Sophie scarf, when I worked with these yarns, this particular pattern, I used a 3.5 millimeter needle, which works really well with the mohair. And I've been playing around with mixing different yarns together when I've been creating these gift scarves, and this one turned out really well. So I'm waiting for these two gifts to arrive in Argentina. I'm sure I will get photos, and I'll definitely post those if they let me on Instagram, but I will ask to post for sure on Ravelry. So the next item that I'm going to talk about is the Tiny Angel gown. And the reason I chose to make this knit is because I am a member of the Toronto Knitters Guild, and we meet twice a month, and what a great community that I joined in during COVID. And when we meet twice a month, one of our meetings is to share all that we've been knitting, and the other meeting is when they bring in guest speakers, and we have an opportunity to learn from those speakers. So we meet from September till the end of June, and it just so happens at the end of June this year, our executive brought in 3 organizations to talk about charity knits that they would like us to assist them with. So one of the local hospitals talked about the need for these tiny angel gowns, and I decided I had knit for other organizations before, and I decided I would now try this pattern. And this is made, and I have a number of them to show you. So the first one that I made, so super cute, I just used yarn that I had in my stash. I had some Charisma yarn. It's a DK weight yarn. This pattern is a top-down construction. It is made on 3.25 millimeter needles, a little bit of a lace in the top yoke, and then when you get further down, you cast off for the armholes, and then you finish the body. So it's a really, really quick, easy knit. This one I did with Charisma. Not the softest yarn, and it's a really woolly wool. So I might give this to somebody who has a child and has a doll, because it's a perfect doll size. that's probably what I'll do with this one. So I then went to our local yarn store and picked up some baby yarn, and I got this King Cole baby acrylic because the request from the local hospital was they wanted pastels and they wanted something really, really soft. So I got that baby yarn, and from that I managed to make 3 little gowns. They're all the same, and I've heard knitters talk about a palette cleanser, and I think for me, in between projects this past month, this has been my palette cleanser, and I feel like it's a great a great easy knit to support charity. So I went back because I thought I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to make a number of them and then I can walk to the hospital and drop them off. But when I went back to my one of my local shops, they didn't have any more white or cream in that baby yarn. So I ended up picking up this Estelle blank cream yarn that's used for dyeing, but it's really, really soft. It's superwash merino and has 25% nylon, but it is super, super soft. And so from one ball, I managed to get, or from one skein, 100 grams, I've managed to get 3 cream colored little gowns, and I think I have one skein left that I've put on my Nostopin and have it ready to roll. And I'm just going to continue between bigger projects. I'm going to continue to make these little gowns. One thing that I did change with the pattern, to put these ribbons on, I made little buttonholes so that I could actually easily put the ribbon through and then sew it. Don't look too closely. I'm not a sewer. So if anyone has any tips or instructions on how to neatly sew ribbon, I don't even know any sewing stitch technique. So if you have any suggestions or tips or videos that you know that are really good, I would greatly appreciate that. And another thing I'm terrible at, look at my bows. I don't know, I do not know how to tie a bow so that it stays horizontal. They all seem to go vertical, which looks ridiculous. So I guess I could search for a video to learn how to do that, but if you do know how to do that and any tips you can give me, I will take them. So that's the tiny angel gown. I'm going to continue to make these. I think it's a great cause, and I'm going to support local hospital. The next project that I'm going to show you is something that I had in my queue for a few months. And so when I went to Argentina, I took the information and I decided to buy my yarn there so that I would have a treasure that would remind me of the trip. So this is the Anu sweater. I'm going to just quickly model it, and then I'm going to take it off because it is to be wearing this right now, but I wanted to show you this sweater. It is a first for me from this designer. I absolutely loved making it, and I loved the detail when I saw the pattern, and that's why I put it in my queue. And I want to just show you some of the details. So this fancy stitch, I'm going to get really close so that you can see it. It's not cable, and that threw me off. I thought it was all cable. So the fancy stitch is used at the collar, down the side of the raglan. It's used at the side, and then along the bottom band at the front and the back, which is a little bit longer. Also the band in the sleeve. And I had never created this stitch before. That was a first for me. So really, really simple to do. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to give away the pattern from the designer, but beautiful, beautiful design. I love it. And so that's why I picked that and put it into my queue. This construction is a top-down construction. There were some, obviously a raglan and some short rows and split side. I just love it. And I knit the collar 5mm, all the cuffs 5mm, the body was 5.5mm, and I'll tell you a little bit about the yarn that I used. I bought the yarn in Argentina because I obviously wanted to have a treasure from that country. It is similar to the red one from the elbows up. It is 80% wool and 10% viscose and 10% polyamide. And I held it with a kid silk mohair. And this was in the colorway, color 19. And that is 70% mohair and I think 30% silk, which I think that is. It's made in Europe, and you can buy that at a number of the local yarn shops. And I held that together to make this a new sweater. If I made it again, what would I change? I do know already. I can tell you that the designer had a longer collar, and when I saw it at first, I thought, yikes, it's going to be too high up. I don't have a very high neckline, and I wasn't sure I really wanted that. But now that I wear this, I could have had a larger, like it could have been, I could have followed the instructions of what she shared. So that was one thing. I also decreased the sleeves where the sleeves are actually quite wide, which is I've noticed with a lot of the patterns lately that the sleeves are really, really wide. And I love it. It's great, but I wanted it to be a little bit more functional. And I find those wider sleeves are harder to wear if you're putting a jacket over top. And so in this case, I decided to make a more narrow sleeve. I love the split. And so I would do, the only thing I would do is change that collar. I would use the same mixed fibers, and yeah, really happy with the new sweater. So I have a few things to show you with this Alaya elephant design. I won some yarn through our Toronto's Knitter Guild. We have a fashion show, online fashion show, and we do Knitter's Choice Awards, and I'm in it to win this year, and it was very exciting. And they sent me 3 skeins of yarn, and the yarn was this lovely, I'm going to share the label with you. There's the label of this yarn, and it is, I don't know if you can still get this yarn any longer, but it is a wool. I've got to look at the details of it. I'm not sure I'm seeing it all there, but it was worsted weight yarn. Oh, here we go. And it is dry cleaning is recommended, and it's 100% merino yarn. It is a very bright yarn, which is really something that I wear. So in January, we had a new member of the family. So I have a great niece and little Sage. I made her this lovely little cardigan. And to go with her cardigan, tiny little, whoops, there's the mitten. And I made some socks and a cute little hat that I will gift to them when she's a little bit older and probably as the winter comes along. So when I made this pattern, I went to Neverins, which is our local one of our local sewing supply stores, and I got these cute little elephant buttons. And then I thought, I'd like to make her an elephant toy. So I went searching on Ravelry and I found Elia. And I made this cute little, and it's for Sage, so I put an S on it, but I made this cute little elephant. And I love making toys for the kids. And so this is a pattern on Ravelry. It's a purchase pattern. I'll tell you one thing that I found a little bit odd. There was no tail included with this little elephant, and I think it was because um, the designer had the intent for it to be seated, and I just thought, I got to put a tail on. So I added a tail, and I added Sage's initial to the front of it using this yarn that I had won, and that's all that I have left of that pink yarn. So I just made it to make that S. And let me tell you a little bit about the construction of this little elephant. I used 3mm needles, worsted weight, Estelle worsted weight yarn, which is 50 acrylic, 40 wool, and 10% nylon, which is fabulous for making stuffies. I didn't use the entire ball. It's 100 grams. I didn't use the entire 100 grams. You make the head first, which includes the trunk, and then you stuff it, and then you continue on to make the body, and you stuff it and seal the body off. Then you pick up stitches around the arm area and knit the arm in the round, and then you stuff it and close it off. Same with the other arm, and same with the legs. And the instructions by this designer, Ysolda, does a fabulous job with picture instructions with arrows to show you exactly where to sew or to pick up the stitches to start the arms and the legs and to put the ears on, because the ears are the same thing. You're picking up stitches and you are in the front and the back, you're knitting on DPNs, and the ears are not stuffed. There are some short rows with the ears that you need to do. And yeah, there's nothing to sew together, which is, for me, that's awesome, because I'm not a great sewer, as I told you earlier. And I also put on, I just embroidered the eyes on. I didn't use the safety eyes. I haven't used those with children. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't want that responsibility, so I don't put that on. And obviously I added my little KarebearKnitwear tag that I put on all of my stuffies and my creations. So this was the first elephant that I made with this pattern, and I stuffed it with this polyester stuffing that I get from, I guess to bring that closer for you to see, I get this from the local sewing supply store, which is on Queen Street. If anybody's living here in Toronto, it's Queen West, and it is a 1 pound, 450 grams, vacuum sealed, and it's natural softness, hypoallergenic, mildew proof, high loft, washable, and odorless. Awesome. And this costs 10 bucks for this Canadian dollars for this 1 pound. And I have included the link to that company. They do have an online presence, and I know you can order from them. So I thought I would share that with you. If you're making toys, fabulous stuffing that you can use. So I made that first elephant. We have some other great little nieces and nephews, so I had to do another one. So here is another elephant that I made. Same thing as the first one, but I made some changes to this one. I made the tail a little bit thicker, and I did put on my Ravelry page how I did that tail. I basically did an I-cord, picked up 3 stitches and did an I-cord, and then with the 3 stitches at the end, I used a crochet hook to pull in through yarn through those live stitches and created the tail. What you will notice that's different about this one and this one is that these are not, the arms and the legs are movable in that I didn't attach them directly to the body. I made them separate. So I made them about an inch longer, and then I sewed one arm through there directly to the other side, and it attached the arms so that this animal could sit and the arms were movable. I had learned that technique with some other stuffies that I make from Pelushka Bunny, and I really like it. And I had the extra yarn because the 100 grams isn't necessary for this size. The R symbol is actually from the Prophet hat, so thanks Shane. I used your design of your DJ name, and I used the R to put onto the belly of this little guy. And the S structure from this little one is from the elbows up cowl. I followed that to do the detailing after I stitched on the S for this one. So the link for the sweater and the hat and the mittens, I put all the links for those designs into the description below, along with the link to Isolde's pattern, as well as the link to the ones that I created, so that you can see if you want to follow the instructions to make the tail. And that's the little elephants for our great niece and our great nephew. So the next project that I made in July was this Uppsala hat by Kate Osborne. I've made it before. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and yeah, let me tell you about this hat, why I made it. I have a neighbor who walks her dog, and we always chat about books and share book titles. She's a reader, and I am an audiobook person because I listen to audiobooks while I knit, while I walk, while I skate, while I cook, while I clean, whatever. I'm retired, and I now have pleasure reading or pleasure book listening, and I love it. So we are always sharing book titles, and so I thought I would thank her for all the titles that she gives to me by creating a hat for her. She's always out walking her dog with my other neighbors who walk their dogs, and in the winter, and it can be really nasty. So I decided to make her this lovely hat. And I will tell you, I struggled, and I deserve to struggle because I did not make a swatch, and I have not used this yarn before. It was a Malabrigo yarn, and it is Mecca, I think is how you pronounce it, or Mecha, and it is the gauge is full. It's made in Peru. The gauge is 11 to 13 stitches, and it is a merino superwash wool, which will be great for the hat. I struggled, and I've made this hat before, but I never worked with this yarn, and I should have made a swatch, and I didn't, so I had to rip it out and start 3 times, and it's a hat. What's wrong with me? I mean, silly girl. Anyway, I ended up using, I say ended up because I can't tell you how many different things I tried. 6mm needle for the band. It's bottom up design. And then I finished off with 6mm up here. In the body here, I used 8mm. So yeah, that was nuts that I finished the top with 6, but I didn't have 8mm DPNs, and my circulars were not small enough to do that. So this, anyway, and I can't use myself as a model. Well, I can put this hat on, you're going to see it doesn't me because I have a smaller head, and so it would be a slouchy hat, and eventually it would fall right down. So anyway, that was the Uppsala hat. And what I really like about this design is you can see it has, um, it looks like little flowers. It's just really, really pretty. And it's really simple. I mean, you could knit this up in a day if you don't have to start it 3 times over. But what's really great is I added on top the snap so that she can put on top a pom-pom. And I have bought a number of these. Oh, I think they're in COVID from Amazon, where you have the snap and then you can snap the pom-pom on. So, which is great for washing, and then you're not washing the pom-poms. But I didn't know which was the best pom-pom for this, and I don't know if the coloring is going to show here. Oopsie. Yeah, so this is black with a little bit of like a silvery streak, and this is more gray or silver with some black. And I don't know what Mary is gonna like. So I decided I'm gonna give her both the pom-poms. This yarn is Plomo, Plomo, Plumo, and it is 043. So it's kind of a purple with a little bit of light purple in spots. It gets really, really light. So it's really beautiful. I think both of these look great. If she likes both, I'll just let her, but I'll let her decide. And if she chooses she doesn't want any pom-pom at all, the way that I've attached the snap, I can easily take it off without impacting the knit. So that was the Uppsala hat by Kate. And would I make it again? Absolutely. What would I do next time? Make a swatch if I'm working with yarn that I'm not familiar with. Lessons learned. So the next project that I wish to share with you is the last one today, and it is a finished object, my ranunculus. This I chose to make this pattern because I've made it before, 5 times before. I made 4 for myself, 2 that were woolly wools and 2 that were cotton. And I made 1 out of some Rowan yarn for a friend, and I had some leftover yarn from that I bought and brought from Argentina. So I thought, hey, I am going to make this ranunculus. So here it is. I'm going to show you my lovely ranunculus, my number 5 ranunculus. And I'm going to take it off because it's extremely warm here in Toronto. And this is very warm because it's been made with woolly wool from Argentina that I have used on my other a new sweater, which I shared with you earlier. And this is the olive wool. It's 80% wool and 10% viscose and 10% polyamide. So I held that double with this mohair that I bought during COVID from Yarnia, which is an Etsy store. And this fuzzy wool mohair, fuzzy mohair, comes from Italy, and I used it for other gifts, and this is the first time I've used it for myself, and I held it double with this yarn to create this ranunculus. Ranunculus is a very popular pattern. I love it. I love it because it fits well. I like baggy sweaters. I'm a skater, I'm a walker, I used to ski, and I just love the fit under winter jackets. And I also like just like the shape of it. I love the yoke design. So for those of you who are not familiar with the ranunculus, it is a top-down construction. There are some short rows in the front and back. There's a beautiful pattern to the yoke, and this is worked on circular needles. Obviously, it's a raglan, and you split for the sleeves, and then the body is worked in the round, and then you get down to the cuff, the body. They do have options for the neckline, options for short rows on the sleeves, and doing I-cord sleeve endings. And there's, for each section, it's a lot of options. And what's beautiful about this pattern is that I've seen people make it in short sleeves, but really wide neck, in all different thicknesses of weight of yarn. And I think that's why it's so popular, because it has so many options and so a variety of sizes. This fits everyone. What I learned the other day, yesterday, I came across a podcast called Yarn Over with Us, Linda and Susie from the USA, and they were sharing their ranunculus that one of them had made, and she was talking about some of the tips and tricks. And she did not do the short rows in the front, and I think next time I would follow that. That was a great tip that they shared with us. And the reason I would do that is because I have a number of ranunculus and I love them, but I find after a while they kind of stretch. And so I think in order to keep that, I'll do the short rows in the back, to take care of our structure. But I don't think I'm going to do the short rows in the front. I think I'm going to leave it higher up, because I find that after all the wear that I put into my ranunculus, they tend to kind of stretch out at the top, and I don't really want that wider neck. This was a leap for me to mix this olive and blue. I am not a blue person, so we'll see how much I wear this, and if I don't, I'll gift it to someone else. By the way, I put the link to Yarn Over with Us, the podcast with Susie and Linda. I put the link in the description, because I think I'm going to continue to watch them along with all the other podcasts that I watch, because that's where I get a lot of inspiration for the different projects that I do. So this is my ranunculus, 1 of 5. Will I make it again? Probably. And I probably will make gifts of this again too. So those are all of my knits for the month of July. Hopefully there was something here for you that you found inspiring, or something that you want to research and go find a pattern, maybe a special gift for someone that you would like to make in the future. So I've shown you my knits, and now I'm going to share with you and I say my latest WIP because I tend to do one project at a time. I admire those who have a number of projects and can handle a number of projects at once, but maybe someday, but right now I tend to do one project at a time. So my present WIP is a blouse number 2 designed by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I have made a number of projects by this designer, so I am familiar with the instructions and the way they organize the patterns, and I love it. I have made I had put this in my queue and I thought I would like to make it out of a cotton, and I have made an Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit with this cotton by Cascade Yarns, and I loved that mushroom colored cotton. I liked working with it. I loved wearing it. And so I thought, I'm going to make this blouse in the same cotton. So I chose this steel gray. It's 100% cotton. It's by Cascade Yarns. And the gray is color number 36. So I started this, I don't even know when I started it, a few days ago. And when I start a pattern, I have it in my queue, and then when I'm ready to start is when I purchase the pattern, and this is a purchase pattern. And then when I purchase it, I go through the pattern and I highlight the sizing for myself. So I read it over and I decided I was going to do a size small for me. So I don't print the patterns. I use the PDF on my laptop, and I use the PDF tools for highlighting, and I highlight all of that for the small. And then as I go through the pattern, I count my rows or the repeats by checking it off on or crossing out on a chart using the tools from the PDF. And I'm gonna pop in a picture of part of this pattern to show you how I do that, but I don't print my patterns. I do that all on the laptop. When I'm traveling, that's not so great because I don't travel and bring my laptop with me, that's for sure. So when I'm traveling and I'm taking my knitting, I tend to take projects where I can read the pattern off of my tablet and or off of my phone, and or it's a pattern that I know it well enough that I don't have to refer to the instructions that often. Anyway, so for this one, I read through the pattern and I saw that it's a top-down construction, and I saw that I was going to be doing a lot of purling. And I don't know, but my mental space right now for that was like, I don't think so. Not that I can't purl, I do, obviously. I can purl, but it has been so hot here in Ontario through the month of July. We've had temperatures over 30 with humidities up to 40 degrees, and regardless of air conditioning, it's just damp. And the thought of even cotton sitting on my lap, and especially as it gets larger, it's heavier. And I thought, yeah, I don't feel that, and I'm not going to do it. So no slight to the designer, and I'll show you a picture of it. It's beautiful, the pattern, but I just took out the purl rows and just did all knit rows. And so this is what I'm going to give you a close up. This looks like up close, and that wasn't the intent of the designer. You'll see, I'll show you the design. But anyway, this is a top-down construction. There was just a simple cast on, and some back and forth for German short rows, and then creating, joining together the back and the front and working in the round. And then you were splitting for the sleeves, and then when I was going back and forth doing the front and then back and forth doing the back, I did have to purl. What I like about this pattern, I love that shoulder design there, and it's also, I'm going to have to bring it up really, really close, along the outside of the body, and it's also on the underside of the sleeve. It's just a really neat little finish that they put. I don't think I'm showing it very well here. Let me just separate the sleeve. There you go. You can see that seaming, and I just thought that was really unique with the pattern, and I do like that. So yeah, things are going well. I've finished the body. Haven't decided the exact length that I wanted. So I thought, and not that I'm going to run out of yarn, but they did say measure it and then note that when after washing and blocking, it may pull a little bit. So I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I left it on barber cord and I'm going to do the sleeves and then I'm going to try it on again and decide what I want to do with the length. But it's just a simple cast off. There's no band or anything. And the same with the sleeves. There's no decreasing. The sleeves are going to be that wide and so's the right to the end of the sleeve. There's no cuff. You just cast off. And same, it was really a simple neckline. Now I did notice in the pattern there is the option to do an I-cord finish on the neckline. So I don't know if you can see it right now. I'm debating. Any thoughts? If you have thoughts, add them into the comments below because I'm going to do the sleeves. Obviously finish this sleeve and then the next sleeve and then body and then I'll decide. But if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear it because I'm not sure if I do an I-cord finish or just leave it. I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, so far I like it. I'm going to step back. I've got yarns attached, but I think it's going to be a great spring summer wear. In the winter, I could wear it as well if I have a turtleneck under it because it's pretty cold here and I need warmth. So this is blouse number 2. Oh, I should tell you a little bit more about the needles that I'm using. I am using 4mm needles. I've used my round needles. I'm using DPNs on the sleeves. And yeah, pretty easy knit. I just couldn't get my head around the slowness of my purling, which would make it a longer project sitting on my lap in the heat of the summer. So I likely will make the pattern again and I'll make it the proper way and with a different fiber so that I could wear this again in the winter as well. So that's my blouse number 2, designed by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And that's what I'm working on. My only WIP. This concludes my July knits and latest WIP. Most of my knits are inspirations from other knitters, so hopefully you found something here that caught your eye or that inspires you for your next creation. Let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up or subscribe so that you know when I do my next posting, probably next month. And in the meantime, happy creating and be well. Thanks. Bye.